Dramatization.
After a car wreck, you may have to fight with a highly trained insurance company rep whose job is to knock your damaged claim down and out. It's a bad idea to enter the ring alone against a trained boxer, and it could be a bad idea to fight against a big insurance company by yourself. When the bell rings, attorney Dennis Sperling will be there to fight for your rights. If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck, call me, attorney Dennis Sperling, at 866-529-2444. That's 866-529-2444.
Dramatization.
Bad drivers cause car wrecks. Not paying attention to the road, operating electronic devices, and drinking while driving can lead to serious injuries. If you've been the victim of a bad driver, a trial lawyer may be able to help you recover money to pay your medical bills, reimburse you for lost wages, and compensate you for the pain caused by your injuries. If you, your friends, or family have been injured in a car wreck, contact me, attorney Dennis Sperling, toll free, 866-529-2444. I'm here to help.
Hi, my name is Dennis Sperling. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is.
Yeah, if you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy.
No need to scream and yell like a little kid.
Yeah, no yelling.
My daddy will fight for your rights.
Yeah, fight for your rights.
If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, attorney Dennis Sperling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Sperling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
Hi, my name is Dennis Sperling. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is.
Yeah, if you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy.
No need to scream and yell like a little kid.
Yeah, no yelling.
My daddy will fight for your rights.
Yeah, fight for your rights.
If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, attorney Dennis Sperling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Sperling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and these are my two adorable and handsome sons. And that is my ex-husband, attorney Dennis Sperling. He practices personal injury law and will be more than happy to help you with claims arising from automobile accidents. He doesn't get paid unless you get paid. And as we first wives know, the more our ex-husbands get paid, the more we get paid. So let me help him help you. Call Mr. Sperling at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
I'm Dennis Sperling. I don't want you going around picking on anybody, and I don't want you to be a bully. It's my job as father to prepare my sons for what's out there.
Anthony, my trainer,
Yeah,
is your trainer.
that's my trainer now.
Yeah. Drop. No good.
Every kid needs to have that lesson.
How's it going with those slabs? They have a sign on them. They're for sale, right?
Roman, wax on, wax off, like that.
Coming up next on
I decided I wanted to get a dog for the boys. And now I have two small boys. Is he good with kids?
He's wonderful.
Okay, great.
Dennis, the minute I think that we're on the same page, you show up with the Magic Mike doll. I mean, they're just big beasts of a doll.
Ty, well, you know, I've been dealing with the boys. They're about to go to a new school, and
You'll be fine.
pull off. I
Bye.
don't want the dog. Seriously.
Co-Parenting with the Sperlings.
Right now, she and I are negotiating. I'm trying to get her to do some dances for me. Some of them sweet, sexy Latina booty dances. Baila culo, mama, baila That's what I'm talking about. Yo, that's it.
You understand what I'm saying? Hate me all you want to, baby. I don't mind hating me. Hate all you can. Let me go the other way. Hate all you can. Hate everything. But I'm gonna still make you look good. Black men winning. Okay? Come on, somebody type that in the chat room. Black men winning. Okay? Because that's just what's happening. We are winning.
We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. Yeah. We winning. We winning. We winning. I know they hating out here. Yeah. I know they mad. They all in their feelings. But baby, I don't care. She calling the police on me and everything. Yeah. Somebody need to get on the phone, call my attorney. Dealing with these hard-headed hoes who ain't learning. Acting all ignorant like a motherfucking menace. She better bundle up, cause bitches about to be winner. Niggas acting timid, why you think she treat a nigga so bad? Turn her only fucking son into a killer. Can't even distinguish who the women, who the bitches. She broke my nigga, even Jesus can't fix it. Navajo nigga, got a man up in prison, but quick to tell you, get your bag up, bitch, quit it. Ever heard of Dennis? Yes sir, get your spurling, we in court early, don't be acting all girly. Keep that same energy, don't need any men. You the man, you the father, you the face of many men. Yep, Minnie Rippleton, taking L's your whole life. While the passport bros taking off the next flight. Something thick, something feminine, rubbing on my shoulders. Be a cold day in hell, Blizzard King try to tell you. A new world is coming, bitch, you better stop sinning. See, God took Kevin, left your sorry ass with Dennis.
Somebody type of old broad in the chat room. Talking about men, you can't find them. That just means you had your chance, boo. You had your chance, and your chance has passed you by. Your husband done went on to the great beyond. He's not there looking for you no more. You done hit one wall. Somebody type one wall in the chat room. You done hit two walls. Somebody say 3 walls. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the broadcast. This is Dennis Sperling, also known as the Blizzard King, also known as Uncle D. If you don't know already, the Super Chat Cash App function has been turned off. And the reason that that's been done is because I learned that I was wondering where the money was going that I was earning from my time. And come to find out, Google takes 30% of everything you all pay me, either through membership, through super chats, and all those different things. And, you know, that's a 70-30 split. So in those months where I work 30 days, basically 9 of those days, I would be paying directly to Google. And so I'm not in a partnership with Google. I use this platform to get a certain message out, but I don't want them using me like that. So what I've done is I present, and we're going to try this for a while and see if it works. I want to make sure the revenue is still up there. But if you guys want to pay me for my time, I want you to know you're paying me, not some major international conglomerate, i.e. Google, through its subsidiary YouTube. So that being the case, at the point where it's time to pay me for my time, or if you feel so inspired by something that I say, go ahead and pay me through Cash App so that I can do what I will with the money, and you know where it's going. Nevertheless, shout out to everybody in the chat room, man. Fellas, hit the #1 button as you guys see. We got people up in here, but some of the things I say are not necessarily the most popular things. The other thing you all have to understand is that, and I'm gonna give you a little lesson here for those of you guys who want to start YouTube channels. You have something called the algorithm. And the story that's popping right now is a story about that Montgomery, Alabama, boat dock whooping. And I may address that, but I'm going to hit it from a different angle, because when I give you all things, I want you to actually have something to walk away with. I want you to say, wow, I didn't see it like that. If after watching one of my broadcasts, you can't see something from another perspective, or you didn't learn something that you didn't already know, or that I didn't give you something of substance to go along with what you already knew to be true, but perhaps maybe didn't have the words, then I didn't do my job. And so I think long and hard about these topics, and I come up with an angle that can be more effective. Because again, what we do on this channel is we give away bricks and bats. Bats so that you can defend yourself, bricks so that you can build yourself up. And I want you all to have a knowledge base. That's why I'm your Uncle D. I want you to have a knowledge base that actually teaches you something and helps you learn something in your life. Again, this page is dedicated to helping Black men, but all men who have the same human experience can learn from what we're doing here. So that being the case, welcome to the broadcast. Shout out to everybody who came through. I see people are contributing to the Cash App already. I certainly do appreciate that. Before we get started good, I want to make sure I give a big shout out to all my guys in the Wrench Mob. We definitely want you all to go over to the channel, the Blizzard King channel, and join that channel. Make sure you do that, because moving forward, we are going to change the nature of this channel, and it's going to be a little bit more general, but we're still going to keep doing what we've been doing. We're still going to keep barbecuing with the Blizzard King, barbecuing with the bars, right? We're still going to keep barbecuing with the Blizzard King over on the Blizzard King channel. So y'all make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you join that channel, okay? Specifically, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put the link to the Blizzard King channel in the chat room, and we're going to pin it to the top so that you guys throughout this broadcast, you can go ahead and join up over there right now. I'm going to actually do it. I'm doing it right now as we speak. The Blizzard King channel link will be posted in the chat room shortly. It should be up right now. So, when you have a chance to, it should be up right now. So it's in there. I'm going to actually, I hear a little background noise in there. Hold on a minute. Give me 1 second, family. Give me 1 second. Okay. Now it is pinned. It is pinned to the top of the chat room. You guys make sure y'all go over there and join that channel, man. We're going to have some good stuff going on there. It's going to take on a whole different kind of vibe. Not only we going to barbecue, we're going to slow roast. It's going to be pretty awesome over there. So we're going to keep the nature of what we're doing. But as you guys see, I got a few things planned for this channel, specifically TV shows like Co-Parenting with the Sperlings, which airs Thursday nights. You guys who don't know, episode 6 is coming up. So far, I've been getting a resounding response. People like it, men like it, women like it, kids like it. There's a lot of lessons to be learned. I got great people, Shay Chardre, the Crimson Cure, and my man Andre Love down in Columbia breaking the videos down, man. So it's just really good. And I appreciate you guys. For those of you who don't know, Co-Parenting with the Sperlings is a 16 episode series that I paid for myself. It cost me $250,000 to pay for this TV show, okay? It's a story about myself and my ex-wife and how I raised my children. And I think what really motivated me to put it up, because you guys kept asking me, well, how did you become a father? Give us some lessons about fathers. But see, the thing is, fellas, being a dad is not so much what you say, It's what you do. It's not so much how much money you have, it's about the time and the quality of time you spend with your children. For example, sitting in front of the television on a Sunday watching football with your sons is not the same as spending some time with them doing a positive activity, throwing the ball around, driving with them to and fro their different activities, talking to them about their day. It's the quality of the time that you put in, and that's the product that you get out. These words that you fill with your sons, these words, these positive words, man. I did an experiment back when I was working on my PhD in environmental molecular toxicology back in 2013. And I had an experiment where I replicated an experiment done by some folks at a university, and I talked to plants using music. One channel I had rock and roll playing, another channel I had like symphony music playing. And the plants who listened to the symphony music, they grew more lush and bigger and beautiful. The ones that listen, and I still have my notes, I may share that with you one day. So your words that you share with your children, the time you speak, just sitting in the room being quiet is not necessarily the fathers that I want you to be. But if you look at co-parenting with the Sperlings, you can see how very active I was when my sons were very young. And that's why we have a relationship now. So here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and run the commercial. We'll be right back. Y'all make sure y'all check out co-parenting with the Sperlings tomorrow night, which is Thursday. And there's episode 1 through 5 up right now. But we're taking back Thursdays. When I was a young boy, we used to be able to watch the Cosby Show, A Different World on a Thursday night. It was family night. We saw these positive images of Black people, and it motivated us. And whatever I may feel about my ex-wife, I make her look good. And whatever you all think about me, because I know I got a lot of hate watchers. Shout out to all the hate watchers in the chat room. Somebody type hate watchers in the chat room. They got Weight Watchers, now we got hate watchers. Type hate watchers in the chat room. Whether you like me or not, I make Black people look good. I make us look like decent, law-abiding, hardworking citizens who know how to resolve conflict. And you benefit from that. But nevertheless, check this episode out. We'll be right
Coming
back.
up next on
I decided I wanted to get a dog for the boys. And now I have 2 small boys. Is he good with kids?
He's wonderful.
Okay, great.
Dennis, the minute I think that we're on the same page, you show up with the Magic Mike doll. I mean, they're just big beast of a doll.
Ty, well, you know, I've been dealing with the boys. They're about to go to a new school, and
You'll be fine.
I
Bye.
don't want the dog. Seriously.
Co-parenting with the Sperlings.
Shout out to my ex-wife. Some of y'all talking about my ex-wife is fine. somebody type Stephanie is fine in the chat room. I know one of her ugly friends will probably be, he talking about you on the internet, girl. You know, I got that internet thing going, right? All on the internet talking about you fine, girl. Y'all go ahead and type that. Your ex-wife is fine in the chat room. Anyway, man. Shout out to my man After Hours Locksmith. Thank you for the $10 super cash out. My man Mark the Freelancer. Thank you for the $3 super chat. My man Alvin Holden. That's what I'm talking about, man. Simple Shit TV. Big shout out to you. Thank you for the dub. Thanks for the love. Michael Roberts, thank you for the $10 cash app. And Will, thank you for the $10 cash app. And Nana, thank you for the $5 cash app, man. But anyway, somebody say she's a pretty lady. Yeah, she fine. What y'all think? Uncle D I don't want no ugly women around me. Come on now. Look, Uncle D is, you can tell a lot about a man by the type of women he got on me. Look, now, I'm going to tell you something, baby. You ain't gonna never catch Uncle D without a fine woman. That's one goddamn thing you need to understand, player. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna have me a fine woman. You can have your ugly one, or you can have your good looking one. I'm just trying to keep it 100 with you. And they all gonna give you the same problems. A lot of these dudes get these ugly gals, and they think, yeah, she gonna give me love. She gonna give you as many problems as them good looking women. Might as hell. Look, let me tell you something, baby. You mess around with one of them ugly gals, thinking she cooking good for you and all that, and then you mess around and have a baby. Let me tell you what my people told me. Look, ugly is forever. You gonna mess around and have an ugly baby and don't want to walk in the mall with that ugly baby holding your hand. You understand what I'm talking about? So you might as well shoot and get you one of the best looking woman you can get, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially a good, healthy, strong woman. You need that, whether you make it or not, at least you got good genes. Now, ironically, That's what we gonna talk about tonight. Somebody type stallion in the chat room, baby. Somebody type stallion. You know, out there, type stallion in the chat room. Lord Jesus. Somebody type stallion in the chat room, man. Somebody type stallion in the chat room. What stallion are we talking about tonight? Man, and I'm laughing, but I'm trying not to cry, man. The title of this broadcast is Recognizing Unhealed People in Dangerous Relationships. I know everybody has heard about the situation involving the young man, Tory Lanez from Canada, who's a rapper. And he was a hot rapper for a minute. And of course, Meg Thee Stallion, Houston's own. And if you look at the thumbnail, it says what it's supposed to say. It said when Power, or it says when Pookie and KK Keisha collide. Basically, that's what it says. And what I'm going to talk to you all about is not about dealing with toxic women, but identifying toxic women. Because a lot of you all was told a lot about how to get a woman, but some women you just don't really need in your life. Now, let's do the backstory on this. For those of you guys who know, Tory Lanez was given 10 years in prison for allegedly shooting at Meg Thee Stallion. Okay? Now, if you really look into it, he mainly was found guilty of illegally possessing a firearm and basically misfiring it in the neighborhood. Now, no bullets were found in Megan Thee Stallion's feet. And the fragments weren't there. No bullet fragments were there. Basically, he had an illegal gun. And here's the cold part about it. Because he's a Canadian citizen, he's going to be deported once he gets out. Okay, now, he got 10 years. I think 2 to 5 years would have been sufficient, and maybe a couple of years of probation, and maybe a hefty fine, a public apology, mandatory AA meetings, anger management. I think that would have sufficed. But the judge didn't really see that. I mean, here's the cold part about it. Meg wasn't really hurt. She was twerking the following month, wasn't she? Huh? It says a lot about who she is. And some people are saying she asked the judge to throw the book at him. I don't know. Okay, but here's the thing you need to understand. Moving forward, men, the lessons you need to learn is that dealing with these salami smuggling thoughts, you better be careful. You understand me? And all of this started, if you guys recall, all of this started because Megan got pissed that Tory Lanez was flirting with Kylie Jenner at her house in the pool. Okay? And she literally got the whole situation started. She was messing around with Tory Lanez behind her friend's back, who was sick at the time. And she was also dealing with other dudes. Say they weren't exclusive in any sort of relationship. Okay? And then she got the nerve to get mad because he's talking to some other woman. You understand? Now, I could see if they had like an exclusive relationship, but that wasn't the case. But, at the end of the day, she's mad because she the side chick, and she mad at what the dude is doing, with his penis and his man parts. My understanding is that she hit him first. And he attempted to de-escalate the situation. Listen, he attempted to de-escalate the situation, right? And what did he do? Well, he supposedly shot the gun at the ground to scare her, which is clearly poor judgment. Somebody type poor judgment in the chat room. Poor judgment in the chat room. Because see, fellas, you want to blame Meg Thee Stallion, I get that, but I'm going to talk to you brothers. Because I want you, it's nothing, they're going to be Meg Thee Stallions out there. Somebody type poor judgment in the chat room. So either way, when he shot the gun, the bullet fragment allegedly ricocheted and hit her foot. Okay? He was being reckless, and likely he was drunk, and he did something that was clearly stupid. Now, do I think he should have got 10 years for that? No, I don't. I think 10 years is excessive, even for a guilty verdict. You think he shot her directly in the leg. Remember, and look, for those of you guys who think, oh, he got what he deserved. Y'all remember that police officer, Amber Geiger in Dallas, who walked into Botham Jean's apartment and then shot him? She got 10 years for killing a man who done nothing. And she's a trained police officer. But here's the thing. This is the price you pay for keeping women like that around, especially if you got issues. Listen. That's the price that you pay for keeping women like that around, especially if you have issues. Now, you men who decide to ignore the signs of these women, somebody type ignore the signs in the chat room. Somebody type ignore the signs in the chat room. Right? Men have to learn to stay away from these dusty, degenerate women because they will help you destroy your life. And then they will throw you under the bus. Tory Lanez walked right into a trap. Somebody type trap in the chat room. Somebody type trap in the chat room. You, with all your money and all your degrees and all your fame, you cannot get rid of those inner monsters. The old folk used to call them demons. I call them monsters. Some of you have monsters within you. I have monsters within me. And you can't pacify those monsters with money. You can't pacify those monsters with fancy cars and big houses. You cannot pacify those monsters with drugs and alcohol. You can't pacify those monsters with pretty women and all the vagina they can throw on you. It doesn't work. There's no geographical solution for an emotional problem. So for you brothers who have those monsters within you, you're going to be having the same problems overseas that you had here in the United States. I'm preaching the word tonight, and we're going to get there. Not recognizing your own inner monsters and working to subdue them, that's your first mistake, just like it's Tory Lanez's first mistake. That was his first mistake. And I'm pretty sure there was enough warnings that he received telling him to chill out. First of all, the brother was already on probation. Why was he firing a gun anyway? Second of all, after he got arrested, he used the jailhouse phone. Listen, he used the jailhouse phone. The last phone you want to use is the jailhouse phone. That's like talking to your cellmate about what your crime was. That's the last thing you want to do. Whatever you say on the jailhouse phone will be transcribed and reported and put on the judge's desk the next day. But he used the jailhouse phone to leave a voicemail for Meg Thee Stallion apologizing. That apology is going to be used against him, number one. Number two is a violation of the protective order, which says have no contact with this woman. You hear this? This is just reckless behavior. On top of that, Tory Lanez has a history of violence. Again, we're talking about monsters. We're talking about his monsters. We already know the caliber of woman that Meg Thee Stallion is. I mean, if you run across women like that, we're talking about monsters. Somebody type my monsters in the chat room. Somebody type inner monsters in the chat room. Because we talking about him, but we also talking about you fellas. And I'm talking to you from a place to love. This man has a history of violence. Many of you have a history of violence. He initiated a fight with August Alsina. He pulled up on Travis Scott to try to fight him. That lets you know he was living reckless, just like many of you. He is known to be unhinged. Hell, even during the pendency of the trial, he still couldn't keep his hands off people. He couldn't sit down. I do believe he's guilty of something. I believe he's guilty of poor judgment. On top of that, he was drunk when all this mess happened. Nothing good comes from drugs, alcohol, when your own personal demons and monsters put you in a volatile situation. Especially when you got somebody else who's like you, i.e. that woman he was with, Tori, Meg, and that other gal. Tori should have took a separate car. But he also shouldn't be laying down with two girls who are friends. That was a mistake. And flirting with a third gal, that's reckless in front of them gals. That's messy. That's a problem. It's a sign of monsters. It's a sign of insecurity. When was the last time you saw Jay-Z sloppy drunk shooting at broads out the side of a limo? You haven't. And his ability to deal with whatever monsters he has, and I'm just picking somebody from that industry, but his ability to deal with those monsters definitely plays a part in his longevity. And that's why he's successful. Emmitt Smith is known as one of the greatest running backs, not because he was the best. I think we all know that my man Barry was the best, right? Where all my Detroit fans at? Huh? But Emmitt played the game the longest. Jerry Rice played the game the longest. Even though I think T.O. and some of those other wide receivers from the 80s and the early 2000s was better, longevity. Walter Payton, great running back. But look how how many years he played? 8? Longevity. Longevity plays a part in your success. And that goes for you all too. How successful would Tupac have been if he had his monsters under control? The boy died at 24 years old. Was it 24 or 26? Huh? No longevity. Biggie, we always talk about Biggie. He had one album. He died young too. It's those monsters, brothers, and that's what we got to deal with. Choosing to link up with a woman like Meg Thee Stallion, that's the second mistake. What was the first mistake? Somebody type first mistake in the chat room. First mistake was not recognizing and subduing his monsters. That's the first mistake. Second mistake was choosing to link up with a woman like Meg Thee Stallion. Second mistake. Whether he's guilty or not, he put himself in that position. He put himself in that position for negative things to happen. You lying with a ratchet feminist, and she don't care. You dealing with the wrong female, that can cost you your fortune and your life and your freedom. We have sympathy for him. Now, I won't have any sympathy for any man who deals with a woman like Meg Thee Stallion after this incident, but we have sympathy for him. But didn't we see it coming? Tory Lanez shouldn't have been hanging around goofy broads like Meg Thee Stallion and Kylie Jenner in the first place. But most of us have chosen women before that aren't good for us long term. But here's the crazy thing. This right here shows you that even dealing with these sort of women in the short term, playing with these broads for a short time, is dangerous. Your life can be altered by a woman. Your own dumb decision during a volatile period while you spending time with that woman. She toxic and you toxic too. If you choose to hang around KK Keishas and Pookeishas and Boom Keishas, know that you put your future at risk. Is she evil? Is she destructive? Maybe she is. But you need to learn to recognize who you're dealing with. See, we get to the point where they always talk about protect black women from black men. Now we got to protect black men from black women, but I can't protect you. You got to protect yourself. See, here's the thing. A lot of you men are to the point right now that you tired of trying to sort out the good women from the bad. It's just too much trouble. Am I telling the truth? That's why 51% of black men aren't married and don't have children. That's why so many white men and all you men from the United States, you're just going overseas. You just want to be left alone to make your money, don't you? You tired of these modern women's crap. Because see, even the good woman is just one lie away from being the biggest nightmare of your life, ain't she? They get you killed, locked up, or they'll steal your seed and have you on child support. And you got black women who are happy this Tory Lanez guy is going to jail. You got black women who are ecstatic that black men are going to jail. There are some women who are ecstatic to hear about black bad things happening to black men, getting shot. There's this one broad talk about it turns her on when white men jack up black men and beat them up. They use cops against you like a racist would. Even when they hit you first, they call the cops. And it seems to me that this certain group of black women, they're the only group of women that find joy in destroying their men. And let me tell you something. You can't go over to the white side with that, or the Hispanic side, or the Asian side. They see that. They see how you treat your own men. They don't want you. And as far as modern black men, we look at it like this. The only reason we're still here is because of our sisters. Our biggest supporter, but now that our biggest supporter and the biggest reason for us remaining in this country is gone, what's the point of staying? Many black men have gotten to the point that they realize black women are not their allies. You've already said that your political positions are separate from ours. You've already determined that politically speaking, you're a separate and distinct group. Hell, y'all not even our women. Y'all belong to the government. That's who you look up to. And unfortunately, the sooner some of you brothers accept that, the better off you'll be, the safer you'll be. You'll move accordingly. Especially if you just so happen to be around one of these women who think like this, and there's a lot of them. You got to treat it like the world is against us, and you're the only person that can save you. Kevin Samuel said it like this: nobody gonna come save you. You got to save yourself, black man. Somebody type SYSBM in the chat room. Look at Chris Brown. It's 15 years later, and he's still under the cloud of being a woman beater. He can't do concerts sometimes. Endorsements are shot. All this from one mistake. Here's the crazy thing. Rihanna admitted in an interview that she instigated the fight and started hitting him first repeatedly while he was driving. She was the aggressor. But Chris Brown caught all the hell for fighting back, trying to keep her off him while he was driving so he didn't crash. You fight this woman, you boxing this, he trying to keep him alive. I guess he should have kept his hands to himself and just crashed the damn car into a wall and they both died. And as ridiculous as that sounds, his reputation would be better off had they both died 15 years ago in that car crash than it is now. Like some of you all have decided Chris Brown needs to be a passport bro. It's like some of you. He needs to get out of the U.S. I would. I have millions of dollars and no kids, I'll be out, gone. I wouldn't want to be under this matriarchal rule where these ladies got power over you and they've gone crazy and you can't bring them back in line. Imagine being Chris Brown and walking around with that baggage. You damn near 40 years old. You being held responsible for something you did as a teen long ago. People are designed to change and elevate when they get older, but ain't no forgiveness. Rihanna, Meg Thee Stallion, these sort of women are toxic. And because of that, they're very reckless with their outrageousness and their masculine and feminist attitudes. That's what makes them just as dangerous as these white women that would lie on a black man for anything. Black women call the police on their men more than any other race. You'll lose your assets, your money, your freedom, your kids, and in a lot of cases, your life. Western women have become, in general, have become a pariah on society and the world. Black women get killed, black women get black men killed all the time and they walk away clean. Look at this situation up in Chicago where this woman used her son to assassinate this man after she provoked him into a fight. And Tory Lanez is just another black man messing around with a straggle daggle who lost it all. Tally ho to these hoes. Okay? Somebody type tally ho in the chat room. Tally ho, matter of fact, passport bros say tally ho to these hoes. The USA is no place for marriage or dating. You will find yourself broke, dead, or in jail. And I'm here to help you brothers heed this warning. All right, so keep flying. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a turn on this thing because I'm gonna treat this subject a little differently than everybody else. Because at this point moving forward, we're going to explain how you begin to spot these type of women before it gets too crucial. Because I think that's going to be the bricks and that's going to be the information that helps you move forward. Nevertheless, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Oh, if she got her nipples pierced, got ass from here to here, then you know that she's a hoe. If she's on Instagram, her bio is an OnlyFans, she's out there selling that thing. See, I know you gon' trip finding out that your chick in Vegas drunk on the strip with no panties on. I know that you gon' say that your chick ain't that way. Miami, DR, Dubai, but you didn't go. Nigga, she's a hoe, hoe, hoe. And I think it's time you know. Nigga, she's a hoe, hoe, hoe. And I think it's time you know.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Welcome back, fellas. We're talking about recognizing unhealed people and dangerous relationships, not just in women, but also in yourself, brother. So what we're going to do at this time is I'm going to talk to you guys about some things that you may or may not know. And we're going to use Meg the Stallion and her family history to help you begin to figure out what you should know. And that's how to properly pick or vet women, because that's something that we don't talk about, especially in the Black community. Remember, in the Black community, the Queen Mother Goddess can do no wrong. You're lucky to be blessed by her breath. And if you see one, then you lucky to have her around for the most part. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Nevertheless, if you look at Meg the Stallion's history, her real name is Megan Javon Ruth Pete. She was born February 15, 1995. So you're looking at a woman who is, for the most part, pretty young, 28 years old, more or less, and born in San Antonio, Texas. Her father, Joseph Pete Jr., Holly Elise Thomas is her mother, and that is them in a family photo. For those of you guys who recognize what you're looking at, I'll explain it a little bit later, but you see where they at. Okay. Now, the thing you want to understand, and we're going to talk about this, and I got a few different articles. And, people will say things, but you have to really read into it to understand what you're dealing with. So Megan Thee Stallion's mother's name is Holly Thomas, and she was a rapper. Okay. She had some music that came out between 2001 and 2007. You remember those Chameleonaire years? And they called her Hollywood. And she eventually became Megan Thee Stallion's manager. But her mama passed away from cancer, brain tumor, back in March of 2019. And that's unfortunate. Okay. So she lost her mother. Okay. Somebody say, I'm looking at them gators. Yeah, Uncle D be looking at gators, baby. I'll be checking them gators out. But listen, she lost her mother in 2019, less than 4 years ago. And this is 2 years after the situation with Tory Lanez happened. She was born in February 1995. She grew up in South Park. Somebody type South Park, Houston, Texas. Somebody type South Park, Houston, Texas. Somebody type Dead End, because that's what it's commonly known as. It's the hood. And just like any other hood in America, it's the hood. So you got a mother raising a young girl in the hood who's a rapper. So what does that tell you? If your mama's a rapper, that means she don't really have any income coming in, doesn't it? Your mother's a rapper? She used to rap under the stage name Hollywood. She released some songs from 2001 to 2007. Megan confessed that her mom was her biggest inspiration in her career and that she knew she wanted to be a rapper when she was 5 years old. So in 2000, Meg decided she wants to be a rapper, not a lawyer, not a nurse. You in South Park, single mother, and you rapping, which means you don't have no money coming in. You living in the hood. Meg would go to the studio with her mama. So you got a 5-year-old girl going to the studio with you. You didn't have a babysitter. You know what goes on in the studio in 2001 to 2007? It's a lot of weed smoking going on. It's a lot of dudes going up in there. You understand what I'm saying? This is the environment you take your little girl to. Eventually, she decided she wanted to be a rapper. Her mother, Holly, wasn't exactly thrilled at her daughter's hobby. Listen to what the mom said, and this is in the article. Her mother wasn't quite ready for her to follow in her footsteps. She begged her to wait until she was 21. Why? Before jumping in a rapping career of her own. But why? Because her mother commented on her lyrics and that they were too sexually suggestive for her young age. So you got a teenage girl in South Park rapping sexually suggestive. And your mama is seeing this and condoning this. Now here's another one. Listen, are y'all listening? So you got a young girl, no father in the house. You've been out and about and out in these streets, going to studios and whatnot. You rapping, you got the thought rap down. Okay. Now, what about the relationship between their mother? We don't know for sure, but here's what I read. Although both of them were rappers and songwriters, they couldn't work together on a song. Why is that? Was mom bound by some sort of contract? Was she prevented from singing on her daughter's songs? Well, Megan explained in October 2018, she revealed that it was unlikely for her and her mother to collaborate because they bumped heads. Somebody type bumped heads in the chat room. So you got your masculine mother and a masculine daughter. Y'all can't even get together and sing a rap song. Hell, you don't even have to be in the same room to put an album together. You could zip drive that and send it off to somebody else. What does that tell you if you and your mama can't even work together long enough to put a rap song together? You bumping heads that bad? Megan said one of her lessons she learned from her mother was that she needs how to stand up for herself. So basically, your mother is teaching you to be masculine. Megan once recalled a time that she encouraged her to confront her bully in elementary school. So you got a little ass girl, 8, 9, 10 years old, fighting at the elementary school. You're not telling them, hey, defend yourself. You basically tell them to go over there and do all that. And she said this was the confidence that she uses. In other words, this is the way I carry myself through life. Confrontational, masculine, raised with no daddy, out and exposed to the world too early. She wasn't sheltered. Seeing your mama, you did what your mama did. And what else did she teach you? Your work ethic. So in other words, work like a man. The work ethic, this is what the article says. It's saying their work ethic is probably the reason Megan didn't take time off to mourn the deaths of her mother and grandmother who passed away 2 weeks before Holly. So this girl is still hurting. She ain't even had a chance to mourn. And Tory Lanez wants to enter into a relationship with her. What did she do? She kept working. So what does that tell you so far? Tells me a lot. Now, what about her father? Well, her father, mind you, we got a mother that's a rapper. Y'all with me? Your mama's a rapper from Sunnyside, from South Park. Your father, whose name is Joseph Pete, mind you, they weren't married because the mother's last name is different from his. Her father, Joseph Pete Jr., was in prison for the first 8 years of her life. Her father was in prison from those formative years of her life. When she was at the rap studio, her daddy was in prison till she was 8 years old. What was his occupation? Somebody type occupation in the chat room. Would y'all like to guess what his occupation was? Her dad was a hustler and a go-getter. Listen, listen, listen. Her father was a hustler and a go-getter. Now, he supported her career. Matter of fact, it says immense support. He supported her. He was immensely supportive of his daughter's choice of career. So your daughter's a rapper, your wife's your baby mama's a rapper, and you are a hustler and a go-getter. What does hustler and go-getter sound like to you all? Coming up in Sunnyside, South Park. What's your occupation? Hustler and go-getter. When you see that on the resume, what does that tell you? Again, her father was a full-time hustler, which means he had no job. Mother didn't have a job. Her job was rapping. He wasn't in her life for the first 8 years. Why was he serving time behind bars? A weapons charge. So you strapped up. Is that your first charge? Probably not. But look at the choice in men that this woman made. The mama made that choice in men. The father, look at the type of man he is. And then apparently her father passed away in 2015. I'm sorry, in 2011 when she was 15 years old, a freshman in high school. So you really only had your daddy in your life for like 7 years. And who knows what that 7 years was like. It might not have been, and it doesn't say how he passed. You understand what I'm saying? Now listen to this. I want y'all to hear this. Shortly after her mother passed away, her grandmother passed away. Well, what was the grandmother's relationship like? Because she mentions these people because these people have a lot of influence on her. Megan Stallion's grandmother passed away 2 weeks after her mother. So man, these are a lot of tragedies. For a young girl that already has some trauma growing up in the hood, we know what it's like growing up in the hood. Somebody type hood life in the chat room. Well, either way, we get some clues from this. During Megan's acceptance speech, the rapper thanked her grandmother for teaching her how to be a kind and valuable woman. Now, listen to me. When I look at the things that Megan Stallion does, she seems a bit vindictive. She seems a bit haughty. So, you know, if your grandmother taught you to be kind and giving, and she raised you to be a very giving woman, and you thought so much of her that you dedicated this award to her, that means you conflicted. You got all this trauma and you being told to be good and kind, but the world hadn't been good and kind, and you lost your mama, your grandmama, and your daddy before you was 20 years old. You was a young girl. Well, before you was 25. She's conflict. This woman got issues. Y'all met women like that, haven't you? And you still want to stick your little dirty dog dicks in them, don't you? Don't you? Because you men don't have penis control. That's a woman you need to leave alone. Brothers, are y'all listening to me? This woman has dealt with a lot of trauma. She got a lot of issues. I don't see nothing in here about seeking a psychologist or seeking God or none of that. That's what she's dealing with. When you pick her up, because she cute, she got a big wide booty and some bouncy breasts that you want to bury your head in. And so you're thinking with your little head instead of your big head, and your dumb ass think, oh, I can tame her. I can bring her in line by treating her kind. I can bring her along. You overvalue yourself. Your game ain't that strong, fellas. This woman got trauma. She got issues. Tory Lane's ass shouldn't have had nothing to do with her. Just the reading of that. Just read the woman's bio like, nah, hell no. Somebody type hell no in the chat room. Some of y'all dealing with women like this right now. They don't have a good relationship with their father. Or he was a jailbird. Them and the mama don't get along. Every time you go over there, they fussing at each other. They always falling out. They can't even sit in the same room together without. I bet it was a couple of fist fights popping off. Meg's a big gal from Texas. There's a lot of conflict in that house. How you not gonna get along with somebody, but you make them the manager of your career? That says a lot. That said, you better make me the manager of my career, your career, or it's gonna be problems. This is what Meg grew up with. Some of y'all are dealing with women like that. You can't read the writing on the wall. You don't see this as a problem. Somebody type problem in the chat room. You can't see this as an unhealed person. You don't see entering into a relationship with this woman is gonna be dangerous. Huh? Nope, because you're thinking with your little dicks. That's why, fellas. Now, let's set that aside for a minute, and then let's look at Tory Lanez. What do we know about Tory Lanez? Huh? His mother's name was Lula Peterson. She was from Caracal. We done seen his father all on the internet. We done seen him yelling and screaming, talking about the Lord. What do they say about the one speaking loudest in the room? Huh? What do they say about the man who speaks the loudest in the room? Huh? What do they say about the man who speaks the loudest in the room, fellas? You know who I'm talking about. Huh? Got me a styrofoam cup since we talking about South Park, baby. Look at that. I got that styrofoam cup. Mm-hmm. The man who speaks the loudest in the room is the weakest. That's Tory Lanez's father. Speaking loud, taking over the courthouse steps, talking about how his son was unjustly incarcerated. You knew what your son was doing. Your son has some issues. So let's read a little bit about Tory Lanez. I happen to have some articles here about this young brother. His mother's name was Lula Peterson. His mother was a mother to 6 children, and Tory was the youngest. He was born in 1992, which means he just what is he, 29? 31, something like that. She raised her son until she died in 2000. His mama died when he was 8. So now you got 2 people who lost their parents very early. Meg lost her dad at 15. She didn't really have a good relationship because he wasn't there. He wasn't there the first 8 years of her life. This boy lost his mom at 8. And what did she die from? Anemia, which eventually caused some sort of rare disease. So what does that mean? You in and out the hospital, you got 6 kids. This man has impregnated this woman and she got 6 kids, and now he got 6 kids to deal with, the youngest of which is 8 years old. So you got another 10 years with this. This with the daddy's perspective, because that's going to be important. And now you got to watch your wife die, and that's expensive and that's stressful. And at some point, dealing with the sick wife and all these kids going to have you burnt out, ain't it? His mama died in the 2000s, which means, and they say he was 11 years old, which means she died about 2003. And it says it deeply affected him. So what does that mean? It affected his studies, according to him. Although his father was still alive, listen. Although his father was still alive, the musician, Tory Lanez, acted out and was expelled from every school he was sent to. What does that tell you? You got a son who is 11 years old and he's acting out. And you alive and you the father and you can't deal with yourself. I mean, you didn't have a relationship with that young boy. But let's look at this. Here are some of the effects of losing a parent at a young age, because these things can significantly affect the child. Here we go. An increased risk in mental issues such as depression, anxiety, somatic complaints, post-traumatic stress symptoms, and substance abuse. Ain't that what we seen in this boy? Mind you, we see what Meg Thee Stallion was dealing with, and now we learn a little bit about Tory Lanez. Less academic success, lower self-esteem, more sexually risky behavior. This the same dude that was banging Meg Thee Stallion, her friend, and was trying to get in that Kris Jenner gal. That sounds like sexually risky behavior to me. Negative effects on attachment. What's that mean? Including the ability to form and maintain healthy relationships. It's impossible for him to maintain healthy relationship because he lost his mama. He got issues, detachment issues, trust issues. It's not his fault that his mama died, but that still make you get snatched away from you. It's gonna cause you not to want to get close to anybody anymore. Some of y'all dealing with that. Are y'all with me? Is this shit too big? Y'all tired of this? This over y'all head. Uncle D, we want you to talk about your home more. This is boring to us. I know, but you need to learn something. Disruption of family system. Increased risk for long-term emotional mental health issues. Dramatic, listen, Negroes, listen to this. Dramatic behavior changes, isolation, depression, anger, guilt, and extraordinary pressure. This is what this boy dealing with. Now to add insult to injury, listen. So you got a son that's 11, 12, 13 years old dealing with all this. Your loudmouth daddy who was a faith healer and preacher whose name is Sunstar Peterson, decided to remarry 2 years after this woman died. So you got a 13-year-old, you done remarried a woman. Let's do the math. Your wife died when your son was 11. 2 years later, you get married again. Damn, that seems pretty quick. How long were you dating this woman before you decided to put a ring on her? How long did when did that relationship start? I'm just asking. Inquiring minds want to know. Nevertheless, guess what happened when the new wife moved in? When Tory Lane's stepmother moved in, guess what happened? All his other siblings, all 6 of the other siblings, began to leave their home. What's the reason? They did not want to be with her. This is in the article. This is public information. This woman, okay, just think about it. This new mom was such a bitch, she ran off all the kids. And the punk ass daddy was so weak, he didn't put that bitch in her place and say, bitch, you ain't gonna run my kids off. So he had no control over his home. So you got a simp, weak ass daddy, this strong, domineering broad running everybody off, a boy who lost his mom, who's going through traumatic shit, and he in there by himself because all the other siblings left and said, we ain't about to deal with this. You see who we dealing with? In this article, he says he came to a point where he was one of the only siblings left in the home, and his father still couldn't control him. That tells me the father is, number one, weak, unprincipled, and he wasn't a very involved father because he didn't have a relationship with his son. That's why his son don't respect him and don't listen to him. He don't respect you because he see how this broad is running over you and then ran your whole family out, and your weak ass, my mama just died, and you hopping in the bed with this broad either you barely met or you barely know, who is running the house. What kind of man are you? So yeah, this boy gonna grow up with a chip on his shoulder and angry. Guess what the stepmom said? The stepmom said she was gonna help Tory Lane's daddy find a new school and suggested boarding school. So you gonna send my last son off to boarding school like military camp to get rid of him. That's what it tells me. It tells me the new mom was trying to get rid of him. She was trying to get your mama dead. That old wife is dead. We're gonna get rid of all these kids and we're gonna have some new kids. Some brand new, fresh new kids. Hell with your old family. This is what I'm reading. Needless to say, and this is what's written in here. Needless to say, Tory Lanez did not have a good relationship with his stepmom, causing for him to move out of his home. He moved out of his home. Huh? Where you move out your home when you a teenager? He moved out of his home to become homeless. God damn. Somebody type homeless in the chat room. Homeless. How much abuse did this teenage boy have to endure that he would rather be homeless than stay at home and live in the home with his stepmother while still mourning the loss of his mother. Are y'all listening to this? And apparently this is what fueled his, they call it rebellious stage. I call it a stage of suffering and anguish. But either way, that's what fueled his energy for the music career. The frustrations and the emotions and the energy. He even released a track called Thank You Mama. The boy's still dealing with it. So let's look at that. Now, guess what else he said? Despite all this, fighting with Travis Scott and running up on, Alcina and drinking and fucking hoes and all that, guess what? Despite it, and I know, the potty mouth police are listening, the profanity police, I know y'all listen, but let me just get this out. This boy's conflicted. And how do I know that? He says, despite the challenges, he remains God-fearing. Really? Are you really God-fearing? All my tattoos consist of angels and music and things like that. Sir, the Bible says don't put tattoos on you, sir. That's a conflict in itself. He says, I'm a godly person, he said, and I definitely pray every day. Yeah, but who are you praying to? Huh? I'm just saying. Do y'all hear this? You hear what this young boy is dealing with? Now let's go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty, and I'm gonna run some of y'all off right quick. I know I am, but I don't care. Turn to your Bible. Somebody type Bible in the chat room. Praise God. Turn to your Bibles, Matthew chapter 7, verse 17 through 27. I'm going to read it to you all. This is from the New Version. Listen now. I know y'all like, oh, shit. We about to go to Jesus. We don't like the law. I know all you atheist ass motherfucker. Fuck y'all. We love Jesus on this page. Black Jesus especially. Anyway, the Bible says this, and I want you to hear this because it talks about what the wisdom of the ancients said. Listen to this, man. I want y'all to hear this. This is real. This is good stuff, man. It's power in that word, man. I'm just telling you, especially if you read it in context. Don't read the Bible from cover to cover. You Negroes barely understand what it said. Read what's necessary. Google, what does the Bible say about this? What does it say about that? And then go to that chapter. Matthew 7, 17 through 27. It says, for every healthy tree bears good fruit, but the diseased tree bears bad fruit. Lesson, a healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a diseased tree bear good fruit. Parents, children, every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the firewood. What does that mean? That means if you got bad fruit, you don't need to be out there having children. You need to be what? You unhealed. That's kind of what that means. Thus, you will recognize them by their fruits. What? You will recognize them by their fruits. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will I enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does and will of my Father who is in heaven. In other words, you got a lot of people out there talking about they love the Lord. You got a lot of people out there saying they were raised to be kind. What was the word? Kind and generous women. But they ain't. When I read Matthew 7 and 17, that means even 2,000 years ago, intelligent men recognized that when you have a parent who is unhealthy, and those people raise children, oftentimes those children will be unhealthy. So this whole lesson for you all, brothers, look at your history. Look at your own personal history. If your daddy was in and out the penitentiary, your mother was a no good single mom skank, you probably got issues. No matter how arrogant you are and how much money you have and how many degrees you have, if you were abused as a child, if you were beat up, you got to deal with those monsters. Somebody type my monsters in the chat room. The Bible is telling you that. That means somebody 2,000 years ago who didn't have an iPhone sat up and figured out, damn, if my parents was messed up, I probably am messed up too. Now, what does that say about the women that you choosing? You don't know nothing about these broads. You laying up in them, knocking them up. You don't even know their middle name. Don't even know who their daddy is. You think you can use your alphaism to just fix all this broad's problems and set her up in a nice house and be nice to her, and then she just gonna, all the monsters gonna disappear. That's not how it works, brothers. You're too arrogant. Your dick don't fix all that. Matter of fact, your little dirty little penises probably just make shit worse. That's what I'm trying to explain to y'all. That was Tory Lanez' problem. He got issues. He grew up, his parents had issues. He had issues with his daddy. His mama was dead. You got Meg Thee Stallion. This gal got all kind of issues. And these two clowns collide. And you wonder why somebody end up shot and somebody end up in jail. Listen. Now let's dig a little bit more into Megan Thee Stallion's attitude. Even at a young age, she was singing about nasty, promiscuous shit. So what does that tell you? Huh? It tells you what her mind is. She might not ever sold no coochie, but she got that whore mentality. That's why I tell you, brothers, all the time, we living in a nation of whores. Even these little girls out here thinking like whores. Everything is transactional. Now, what does the Bible say about that? Praise God. And if you type in Bible and whores, it's a whole bunch of verses. I mean, there was a lot of hoeing going on back apparently 2,000 years ago because the Bible is wrought with verses about whores. If the preachers would preach about whores more often in church, more you men would go. Because you'd be like, yeah, that's what we at. You could relate to that shit because many of y'all dealing with whores. You was raised by whores. Your baby mama's a whore. Your wife is a whore. Your grandma was a whore. And that's all you seem to be around right now is whores. If the preachers is a preacher, you preachers, you need to preach about these whores. Because if you type in whores in the Bible, whole bunch of verses come up. Let's talk about Proverbs 6:26. It says this, for the price of a prostitute is only a loaf of bread. That's very cheap. But a married woman hunts down a precious life. In other words, she helps you get a precious life. You see what I mean? So they already telling you the difference between a prostitute and a married woman. A prostitute is not valued at all. A married woman who hunts down, that's a precious thing. That's something valued. Now listen to this. This is very important. I think this is at 7:27, Proverbs 6:26 through 7:27. Can a man carry fire next to his chest and his clothes not be burned? Or can walk on hot coals and his feet not be scorched? Damn. What is that saying? What is that saying to you, brothers? Can a man carry fire next to his chest and clothes not be burned? Or can he walk on hot coals and his feet not be scorched? What does that say? It's the same thing Pimp C said. You like to lay with these hoes and play with these hoes. Next thing you know, what? She taking you for child support. In other words, you can't play with these broads. Some of y'all brothers think, oh, I'm going to just play with this hoe for a minute and then move on. And next thing you know, you caught up with a broad. See, whatever you settle for, that's what you're going to end up with, man. I said, man. You understand what I'm saying? Can a man carry fire to his chest and his clothes and not get burned? In other words, can you play with this toxic, ratchet broad who you know you shouldn't be with, who got a horrible personal history? Do you think you're going to play with this broad and not get burned? Hell no. Just like you can't walk on hot coals and not get your feet scorched. Leave these hoes alone, man. Leave them alone. The minute you start playing with these broads, you're going to end up like Tory. Same thing with that boy, goddamn King the Conqueror. I forget his name right now. That was a white broad. Still, I bet if you look in her history, man, she got all kind of issues. Leave these hoes alone, man. They'll destroy your life, man. You see it getting played out in front of you every day. Dick control, man. That's what your Bible is telling you about. You niggas talk about red pill, read your Bible. Look at Samson and Delilah with your little red pill glasses on. You're going to see plenty up in there. Listen, it's all there for you, man. Even the ancients were telling you about leaving these hoes alone, man. It ain't nothing but death and destruction for you messing with them, especially if it's so easy to figure. You can Google broads now. You can see if they got a criminal record now. You can ask them questions about what their life has been like now. This ain't caveman time. You just run up there and hit on the back of the head and drag off to the cave. No. Do you want to end up like Tory Lanez? Or this somebody, what's the dude King the Conqueror? What's his name, man? What's his name? You want to end up like him? You know that, look, we keep blaming, look, brothers, look. You can blame women all you want to. You can blame these women all you want to, but you knew that was a no good riding broad when you ran up on her. You just ran up on her because she was fine. And if you didn't know, as soon as she pulled her clothes off and you could smell that motherfucking fish market coming out of her vagina, you knew then that she'd been ran through and you hit it anyway. You saw the tattoos, bullet wounds, and stretch marks, and you still ran up in it anyway. You saw her hiding that cell phone when she was every 5 minutes, she looking down at the cell phone while you on y'all little first date. You knew who you was dealing with, nigga. I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you. Why should I? Why should I waste my tears on you Negroes? And you knew what you was doing. You knew you shouldn't have been screwing with these women. You know she ain't got nothing but tragedy and death waiting for your ass. And you chose anyway. Matter of fact, she told you what her relationship was like with her last man. And you chose anyway. Look, it ain't me. You mad at what I'm saying tonight, you're going to have to be mad at Jesus. You understand what I'm talking about? I gave you some Bible verses for you Bible thumpers. The Bible said that. Huh? The Bible says that. And now you know how to better choose these women. If you look at a woman's personal history and she got all that trauma, that I don't give a damn what Dr. goddamn Umar Johnson tells you. All these women are not marriage material. And some of these women aren't even fit to be around because they'll take you down with them. And if they feel themselves drowned, they'll throw you up under that bus and let you get rolled over. Listen to me. Because I'm going to talk to you like I talk to my own sons. Leave these, not all these women, I don't care how good they look. I don't care how fine they are. You're going to get it. You're going to want it. You're going to get it. And you're going to get just what you asked for. You're going to get a death sentence. You're going to get a prison sentence. Everything that look good ain't good, brothers. And you can blame Meg Thee Stallion on you want, but Tory Lanez knew who she was before he started fooling with her, didn't he? We all knew who she was. We all knew who she was. And just like you knew who that woman was, you knew who your baby mama was before you started fooling with her, didn't you? Yes, you did. She ain't that good at hiding them secrets. Or you knew soon thereafter, didn't you? You knew she wasn't a virgin going to church 7 times a week, didn't you? You knew. Nevertheless, I've done enough for the night, praise God. I feel as though I've earned my keep. If you feel as though I've done something good and I've learned you, somebody type learn you in the chat room, I've learned you something tonight. If you feel as though I've learned you something tonight, if you feel as though the next time you deal with a woman, you're going to ask some more questions, some more intrusive questions about her background and her life before you met her, before you decide to permanently commit your emotions and your wallet to her and your life and put your life into, because you laying next to this woman hey, she can take you down. Okay? I practice jujitsu, and I know the motherfucker right next to you can choke you out. You understand what I'm saying? Nevertheless, if you've learned something tonight, if you appreciate what I've done, then you need to pay me for my time. Ain't nobody else up at 10 o'clock at night giving y'all Jesus like this. Ain't no, because you can look at the Bible now. Now you can say you got a biblical reference. I gave you the chapter and verse. You can go in there and tell people. Not only did I learn about Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion and what I think went wrong in that relationship, but I can tell you now what I'm going to avoid the next time I'm dealing with a woman. Matter of fact, I'm now looking within myself to figure out what my monsters are. Somebody type my monsters in the chat room. Those of you guys who have my books, you recognize the terminology because I talk about my monsters. And if you haven't bought my book, you need to get the books. You can get them at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll send you the books. But I talk about my own personal monsters. You can't bury them with alcohol. You can't bury them with degrees. You can't bury them with education. Some of these same strong, independent, educated women with PhDs, they still got the same monsters they had as teenagers. And some of y'all do too. And that's what I'm trying to educate you on. I hope you learned something tonight. And if you did learn something, you need to pay me for my time. Again, pay me at Cash App because I don't want to share my money with Google on that whole super chat thing. I want to see how this work out. I want to keep all my money. All my money needs to be recycled black dollars, send it back this way. I don't want Google getting the cut of my money, man. I ain't into the pimping. Anyway, if you appreciate what I've done, you learned something tonight, pay me for my time. Until then, I'm going to send you to be with Jesus.
Prism has come to me with something. So everybody please listen. She's going to be talking at length, but...
All right. We need 9 more super chats, 9 more cash apps. If y'all want me to come back, I need 9 more cash apps. We got y'all like tonight. Pay me for my time. In the meantime, I'm gonna open up the chat room and put the link in the chat room. But I need 9 more cash apps. I know y'all appreciate what I did. I know you learned something. That's why you're still here. But go ahead and do that. We'll be right back. Give me 9 more super chats. 9 more cash apps. We'll be right back. We'll change it up a little bit.
Me under the blood, Jesus cover me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you been cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Jesus, you be cover me. Under the blood, me say me. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus cover me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you been cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Jesus, you be cover me. Under the blood, me say me. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus cover me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you been cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Welcome back. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Check microphone check. If y'all can hear me, hit the number 1 button. Okay, there we go. All right, welcome back to the broadcast. I guess I didn't earn my keep tonight. Nevertheless, the link to the chat room, if you guys want to come in and chop it up with me, come on in. In the meantime, I got something else for you guys. We're going to let the fellas up in here for a minute. I want to get some guys in the bullpen. I think this is a very interesting conversation. I think it's something we need to talk about. Come on up in here. All right, let's talk about
80% of black women in this day and age, it don't matter how old or young they are, they have a general dislike and hatred for you. That's your real climate, brother. See, I'm not telling you something that you ain't already felt. I'm telling you something that you know. I think it's more too. I truly think it's more too. I couldn't imagine what it would be like as a black man to want to fuck these bitches, to want to wife them up and have babies, but the majority of your population, you want a black woman, right? But these hoes is crazy. These hoes really crazy out here. Like, it's an abundance of you that think that all men are dogs, but we all know it means black men. You don't ever roast white men, Mexican men, Indian men, Asian men. You don't ever have nothing bad to say about them. But when we say all men are dogs, you really think it's black men that are dogs. Because the undertone of all relationship conversations is black men ain't shit. Why these black men ain't doing this? I can't bond with y'all, sis. I cannot bond with y'all when you have a general dislike and vitriol and hatred for our male counterpart. Do you not understand how goddamn psychotic that is?
Black family left in pieces. You don't talk to me, you speak to Jesus. All that love, keep it. Passport, we out, we on the beaches. Sunday service, tell it to the preacher. Yeah, black family left in pieces. You don't talk to me, you speak to Jesus. All that love, keep it. Passport, we out, we on the beaches. Sunday service, tell it to the preacher. She got degrees, educated, lot of independent talk. All her girlfriends single, ain't nobody get to walk. All the men are at the airport, overseas trip. Wanna fight mid-flight, told us all to leave shit. You're lonely and you're desperate, family used to matter. Only black lives got you trying to buy some baby batter. Your politics are off while you fucking up the nation. You can stay on Candyland, bitch, I'm off the plantation. The house and the car and the bank account keep. Get yours out of here, ain't nobody gonna replace me. Fuck your PhD, what you eat, I don't shit. Why you think I'm booking flights to get away from you, trick? All the BBLs and the umbrellas. All the weaved out hoes need to run, fellas. All the baby mamas and the freak sluts. We out of here, you can have it, homie, keep up. All the BBLs and the umbrellas. All the weaved out hoes need to run, fellas. All the baby mamas and the freak sluts. We out of here, you can have it, homie, keep up. Black family left in pieces. You don't talk to me, you speak to Jesus. All that love, keep it. Passport, we out, we on the beaches. Sunday service, tell it to the preacher. Yeah. Black family left in pieces. You don't talk to me, you speak to Jesus. All that love, keep it. Passport, we out, we on the beaches. Sunday service, tell it to the preacher. Yeah.
You mad because that same dude done hopped on the flight. He done went down to Cartagena and he got him a bad one on his own. He's at an all-you-can-eat buffet. An all-you-can-eat bad bitch buffet. How about that? Wow. You know? Praise God. Hallelujah. All right. Yeah. Welcome back to the Broad Man. Shout out to man Deacon Salty Balls. Thank you so much for that cash app, man. Thank you so much, bro. He gave me that hot 100. You know what I'm saying? I miss the good deacons versage that he used to throw up in there, man. I guess he's too busy for us now. But anyway, brother, welcome back to the broadcast. Here's the thing, Black Samurai. For you guys who don't know Black Samurai, man, he's one of the regulars around here. For you guys who want to come on in, the link to the chat room is in there. Anybody who wants to do a one-on-one consultation, because one thing you know about me, I will tell you about yourself. If you tell me about yourself and you want to do a one-on-one consultation, like I say all the time, most dudes call me up or they want to schedule a consultation because they want to learn how to hide money from their wives or get prepared for a divorce that's coming up so they don't get robbed and whatnot. And they'll call me up and we'll chop it up, and I'll basically tell them a series of stories that are written in my book, actually. So you really ain't got to pay the money to talk to me. If you just read the books, you'd be like, oh, this is what he's going to say. And there might be a little different things I'll put in there. But if you want to do a one-on-one consultation, man, just hit me up at sperlingdentist@gmail.com and schedule it. I'll let you know the price. If you want to do it, cool. But anyway, man, good brother. Always good to have you in here, Black Samurai. So here's the thing, brother. I see a lot of people on YouTube and they're talking about Megan Thee Stallion and her deficits and how horrible of a person she is to set old buddy up. But the truth is, man, he set himself up. He knew who that broad was. You understand me? He knew who that broad was when he met her. All I'm trying to do with what I'm doing tonight is I'm trying to show y'all this is what's in your face, and you dealing with a dangerous relationship because you got an unhealed person right here. It's no difference than dating a crackhead. You got an unhealed person, and you a motherfucking unhealed person. So what happened when Pookie and KK Keisha get together? You see what I'm saying?
Nothing but chaos.
Yours, baby. I'm surprised ain't nobody else want to come up in here. Go ahead.
Right. No. The reason why, listen, I can tell you, Uncle D, the reason why nobody will come because you touching on a touchy subject and a subject of pain, struggle, something that, we all as Black people are going through, and it might hurt. Some people don't they like to sweep this under the rug. I'm telling you, I got this in my own family. And you telling, one thing I like what you're doing, you telling men to read the signs, read between the lines. It's like me. I treat life like boxing. Protect yourself at all times. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's fun. That's the sweet science. You gotta learn how to you gotta learn how to move out here.
Let me lay it down like this. Brothers, look. In my books, Rules to Live By, How to Maintain Peace of Mind and Happiness in a Conflicted World, I talk to you brothers about all of my monsters. Okay? You looking at a man. Fuck the degrees. Okay, let's look at the human being that we dealing with. Okay, let's wipe away. You see a lot of glossy people, man. You can put gold flakes on shit and it be shiny, but it's still shit underneath. That's why you never know who you dealing with. Listen to me. You looking at a young man, you looking at a man before you. And I love y'all. And that's why I'm willing to open up and talk to y'all. I was born in County General Hospital in Los Angeles for people who don't have health insurance, to a woman who got pregnant when she was a teenager, who lived in a big ass house with a whole bunch of other Black folks, wasn't nobody married, didn't have jobs, fresh out of Mississippi on the east side of LA, which is wrought with crimes and drugs and all sorts of crazy stuff in the 1970s. Over there by the Pablos. I think it's on 43rd and Long Beach in South Central LA. On the east side, though, not even the good part of South Central, the bad part. You understand what I'm saying? So I grew up seeing ghetto shit. My first memory was of the LAPD arresting my Uncle Slim in his drawers outside my grandma's house because a man down the street thought he robbed and took their TV. This is my first memory, and it goes downhill from there. You see what I'm saying? During those family home vacations and Christmas and Thanksgiving, I would see my family members fight each other. I see some Donald Duck orange juice on one side and that Seagram's gin on the other side while they're playing dominoes and cards. It's going to be a fight tonight. I've had to go to school after a Sunday night fight and had to get up the next day and go to school around the corner. That's traumatic shit. And I ain't even 10 years old yet. We don't even want to talk about the street violence. We ain't even got out the house yet. We talking about the in-the-house violence, the drug use. Some of y'all grew up watching your mamas and daddies smoke whatever. And even though like we look past it now, when you see your mama put weed and crack cocaine, and some of y'all seen it, that affects you. When you see your mama have men coming in and out the house every 18 months, every 6 months, she got a new man coming in and out, that affects you. That affects your perspective on what a woman should be. Some of the men you might not have got along with. This is what I'm trying to explain to y'all. The fights you had in school, the fear you had of going to school, because some of you dudes from Brooklyn, some of you dudes from all these different hoods, South Central, wherever, the fear that you had dealing with. All that's traumatic. The relationships. And some of you guys y'all were abused. Some of you brothers were sexually abused. I know you don't want to talk about it, but that's okay. I know. Some of you all were physically abused. Some of you all were emotionally abused by the people you love the most. So guess what? You're dealing with that. You got monsters. And you can't bury those monsters. Monsters got claws for digging up out the ground. You can't bury them with degrees. You can't bury them with fancy cars. You understand me? You can't bury them with money. You can't drink them away. They're going to sober up. Matter of fact, you drink and you got monsters in you, that make the monsters worse. Then you got inebriated monsters. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I got monsters. I'm telling you, I got to watch the type of bitches I'm around. Listen to me, Negroes. I got to watch the type of bitches I'm around. Throw the lawyer shit out the window. I can't be around certain bitches. I can't be around neck rolling, shit talking, in your face type bitches because I might slap a hoe. I might revert back to my Native American heritage, which I really don't have none. The Native American heritage is slap a hoe. I put a motherfucking feather hat on my head and I'm around here slapping hoes in prison. I can't be around them type of bitches. I can't do it. I already know that because they bring out the worst in me. They monsters, the spirit of they monsters meet the spirit of my monsters, and now we fighting each other but from across the room. I can't do it. You understand what I'm saying, brother? But go ahead, bro. What would you like to add to that? Because I'm just keeping it 100 with y'all.
No. You keeping it 100,000. You keeping it 100,000 because that's the first thing that my support system told me coming out of college, graduating. You know, once I get a certain class, making a certain money, you have to protect yourself and your assets. Being around something chaotic like that, you don't want to be all locked. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you might get hurt, might get shot, might go to jail. You know what I'm saying? That stuff, like, come on, man, you got to go to work. You got stuff you got to take care of. You got people relying on you. So once you get up into that point of, you know, you get up to that status, you know, some people, they just stuck at a certain level. They don't either, I call it graduate or growing or getting past a stage, that ghetto stage or whatever. We all came from the hood, you know what I'm saying? But most people, you want to work and get out of the hood. That's what my OGs taught me. Like, yo, I had OGs that did bids in prison, but did 25 years, came out, or was in the street life. I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, what he's saying ain't nothing. Come on, man. He's certified in the street. So I'm like, of course I'm gonna listen to him. You know what I'm saying? So
you ain't gotta look like a hard dude to have monsters. A lot of people's monsters come out in different ways. Yeah, you got the drug addicts, you got the dudes that's out here violent, but you also got people who overeat. That's the way they compensate. You got people who have all this different sex with all these different women. A lot of these people who are part of the rainbow flag community, many of them were affected traumatically as children. Many of them had to endure sexual violence. Ask them when they lost their virginity and to who and how and under what circumstances. Many of them will tell you their first relationship was not voluntary. That's what they will tell you. So they're dealing with trauma. I'm just telling you, it's a lot of people out there with monsters, man. And you can't hook your monsters up with their monsters. You got to subdue them monsters. And that's what I want to talk about after I hear my man Cody Marshall come in. Cody, what would you like to add to this conversation? I don't think they like this shit because I ain't getting no super chats. I don't think they think I earn my money or cash apps. I'm sorry, we ain't doing super chats. I ain't trying to share my money with the Google right now. I want to see how this works. But bottom line is, bro, I mean, I can see the issue. You understand what I'm saying? I see the issue with Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. I see why these two people who came together This was a match made in hell, and that's why somebody in jail. Go ahead, Bars. Go ahead, Cody. What would you like to add?
Well, before his situation, it's mostly his fault because he didn't see the red flags. However, you know, he should have just left that alone. You know what I'm saying? But far as like what you saying, how you come from me, you come from the same clothes. I was born in Charity Hospital, not too far from where I live. You know what I'm saying? So, and growing up, and I had to fight. I had to. People was picking on me. I had to fight them, and carrying sticks and all that other stuff, and getting guns pulled out on me.
That's that dysfunctional Black American life that we've been dealing with around here.
Seeing two crackheads eating, crack out of the mud because they dropped their crack in the mud. My mom was like, "Come see this."
And all of that,
that's somebody's mama, man.
All of that is trauma. You see what I'm saying, brother? All of that weighs on who you are, and when you grow up, you can either make those. You can even make those monsters stronger, or you can begin to make. They never go anywhere. I got monsters. You see what I'm saying? I got monsters in me, and unfortunately, if you get around the wrong people, they unleash those monsters. Right, and so you got to make sure you separate yourself. Why would you lay up with a broad that got as many monsters as you? Now the Bible people, we call them demons. I just call them the monsters because what do monsters do? They destroy. Those same monsters will destroy your life. You passport bro, somebody type passport bro in the chat room. Let you go over there and deal with one of them bras to bring out the monsters. There's no geographical solution for an emotional problem. You need to learn to tame your own monsters. You can't bury them with alcohol. You can't bury them with degrees. You can't bury them with distance. Them motherfuckers is wherever you go, there you are. They're going to be right there with you. If you got monsters, you need to deal with them. And you damn sure don't need to deal with a woman who provokes those monsters. I don't care what these broads say. You will hit a bitch, okay, if she hit the right button. You will strike a hoe. That's another Native American tribe that many of y'all have never heard of. It's from the southeast section of the United States, the strike a hoe tribe. And not to be confused with the Slap-a-Hoe tribe. Okay, understand? They similar but not the same. Nevertheless, you will do that, and I'm telling you, you will do that. You will go off and you will hit abroad, and guess what? Just like Tory Lanez, she could have been a whole hoe out here in these streets. She could be a stripper. She could be the worst woman in the world, but because she's a gal, guess what's gonna happen? She gonna play the victim role. She gonna get the benefit of the doubt. Look at this nasty, rotten ass, shit-eating bitch they call Sukiana. Talking about he kissed me in the mouth. And now she a victim, and the whole world is making this old boy apologize on that little podcast from a little while back. You understand what I'm saying? You could be a prince and she could be a piece of crap, but because she's a woman and you live in a matriarchal society that gives when she can do no wrong, you go down the toilet. You got a lot to lose, fellas. You got to get control of these monsters before you even think about entering into a date. You understand what I'm saying? But go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Black.
It's funny thing that you brought up the Bible, man, because the Bible bring many examples. And I remember it was a king in the Old Testament he was so simpish, so weak. He was willing to give his kingdom away to one of these homes. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be understand. You gotta understand, like you gotta have strength in certain areas and all around you, because if you weak and vulnerable as anyway, you'll be taken down. Like these people, they were entertainers making big money, and they're doing this stuff. Like, come on, like where your head at? Like,
because money does not pacify those monsters. Your wealth and your fame doesn't pacify. That's what I'm trying to explain, y'all. These things of the world don't bring you peace of mind and happiness. There's plenty of rich people sitting up in their house contemplating self-deletion. Right. Let me say that again. It's plenty of rich and wealthy people sitting up in their house contemplating whacking themselves. You understand me? And whether they do it by putting some to the side of their dome, or whether they do it through drugs or alcohol or fornication and so on and so forth, you can have a slow death just as fast as you can have a quick death. But nevertheless, they taken away from their life. Some of us overeat. You eating, you sad, you upset, you depressed. You don't want to, don't want to smoke crack. So you eat to try to make yourself pull up out that depression you in. Because you got monsters, man. You trying to pacify those monsters with negativity. Some of you thrill seekers out there, you motherfuckers bungee jumping and jumping off of shit and fucking bitches raw in the back of motherfucking Dodge pickup trucks. That's thrill seeking. Why are you doing that? Because you got monsters. And until you brothers look within yourself and begin to heal yourself, first recognize your monsters. Recognize you ain't that strong. You're a human being like the rest of us. I'm talking to you black men, you hard motherfuckers that think you hard. Y'all niggas is soft too. You're human beings. Y'all some of the nicest, kindest people on the planet. And if you didn't give a shit, you wouldn't be on the internet trying to look for healing. And I'm telling you, you have these monsters, and when you hook up with these broads that have their monsters because they raised by the same type of men and women, it becomes a volatile relationship, man. You end up choking the bitch and you love her. She end up calling the police on you, stabbing your ass and calling her people on you because y'all got monsters. And that's what monsters do. They come in and they destroy everything you built up. Godzilla, King Kong, that motherfucker with the 3 heads is breathe out the fire and shit, all of them.
Come on, Ghidorah.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Right. So are you, and when you look at your Bible gives you a clue and says, if the mother and the father are the tree and they are rotten and spoiled, then you can best bet that these children are going to be the same way. And it's not saying that that's a life sentence for them. You can get help. You have to recognize that you need help. Right. You have to look at that. I wrote a 700-page series of books explaining my monsters to myself. Those books that I wrote that you guys read, Co-Parenting with the Sperling, that started off just being my private memoirs. That's why it's so honest and truthful. That's why I put all my business out in the street like that. Y'all like, damn, Dennis put a lot of shit out here for people to see. Yeah, because it was not supposed to see the light of day. It was not supposed to be public, but when I read it and I realized, man, this is what a lot of brothers are going through. I need to put this out here so that they can see that even somebody in my position, the degrees, the money, the women, the cars, hey, I still needed healing. And the only way I'm able to change the trajectory of my children is because I heal myself. Right. If you don't do it for nobody else, man, do it for your kids. Because if you a rotten tree, you ain't gonna have nothing but rotten fruit.
Right.
Let me say that again, brother. If you a rotten tree, you can't bear nothing but rotten fruit. So heal yourself for your children, so that you can be a better parent than what you had. You understand me? That's how real this is. Now imagine if Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion end up having a child together. What that child gonna be like? Just think about that. And strip away the money and the fame. What would these two people do together? You see what I mean? It'll be the same effect. But anyway, Black Samurai, what else? Cody Marsh, what else would y'all like to add? Go ahead, brother.
Right. You hit it on the head because you want to stop the cycle. Because if you don't, if people don't see those signs, it's going to repeat the cycle and your son go do the same thing that you came up or doing. The objection is to change that, to get out of that environment, change the environment, make yourself better. It was hard for me. I grew up in the streets, man. All my friends is either doing life in prison or dead. You know what I'm saying? I had to deal with that getting older. You know what I'm saying? I recognize that all my friends ain't around. I'm seeing the children having other children repeating cycles. I had to remove myself from that environment. To even have sanity. You know what I'm saying? That's why I started doing the passport bro thing. You know what I'm saying?
And I bet if we look at Tory Lanez, we look at his father and his mother, I bet they had monsters. I bet Meg Thee Stallions, we know Meg Thee Stallions, your mama's a unemployed rapper and your daddy's a convict, a hustler. They got monsters too. You see what I'm saying? What could have changed? How could we have changed the trajectory of Tory Lanez's life? I think had his father been stronger, and he said, look, bitch, you ain't gonna run my kids off like that. You see what I mean? And he had a more stable household. I think that would have been helpful for him at the time he was grieving for the loss of his mother. And he wouldn't have such a chip on his shoulder. He wouldn't be so angry. He could deal with his loss like other people who have to suffer these traumatic losses. What about Meg Thee Stallion? If her daddy had been home in her first 8 years, she wouldn't be out in them streets and she wouldn't have been exposed to so much. He would have said, bitch, stop taking my daughter out in these out to these goddamn rap studios with all these niggas over here from motherfucking the sunny side in South Park. I don't want my kids around that shit. These niggas back here drinking out of styrofoam cups and shit. You know what I'm saying? That what they used to call it. Out here drinking. My 8-year-old daughter's out here watching niggas drink perp. No. You see what I'm saying? He would have brought some order to her life, and Meg Thee Stallion wouldn't be that. She'd be a lawyer, a doctor, somebody else. Not. Right. You see what I'm saying, brothers?
Right.
This is how you heal these trees. This is how you prevent the monsters from even developing fully in your children. Because there's some happy people in the world. You understand what I'm saying? It's some happy, wholesome people who don't have to deal with all that trauma. I've done the best I could for my kids. I keep them sheltered from all the trauma. You don't need to see all that as a child. It builds monsters. You see what I mean? The bigger the trauma is to a child, see an adult, you can look at a dead body and be like, oh, well. But a child sees that, that's traumatic. And that's why when parents say, oh, boy, get over it. You know some of y'all mamas told y'all that shit. You seen her getting her back blown out. You 7 years old. You hear her, Mr. Earl done came over and got your mama screaming in the back room and shit. That shit is traumatic to you. And she like, oh, boy, get over that. You like, bitch, I can't get over that. You a hoe. You see what I mean? And that's your mama. You see what I mean? Now, when you 45 years old and your mama fucking something, you like, damn, ma, you still at it. It don't hit you as hard as when you're a youngster. You understand? You see your mama around there smoking weed or smoking crack or doing whatever she's doing or fighting in the street. That's traumatic for you. That creates a mind. You a little kid that puts a big monster in there and they grow with you. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say, fellas, is let's do this. Let's not, we understand the situation with Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. And I know a lot of YouTubers want to blame one or the other. But that ain't solving no problems. That's not helping you. What do I need to help you brothers build character in yourself? Get these bricks to help you build your character. Well, let's begin to self-analyze. Let's begin to look at these monsters. Let's begin to look at our lives. Let's begin to look at what makes us afraid. Let's begin to remember all the events in our life that we feel tragically affected us. Fuck what people got to say. I'm not concerned about people judging you for something that you think is serious in your life. You are at this point an autonomous human being. You're a grown-ass man. You are entitled to feel how you feel about the situations that negatively affected you. I don't give a shit if somebody else tried to say, oh, that wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal to you, motherfucker. It was a big deal to me, and I'm the only one I'm concerned about. That's how you deal with people who try to make it seem like what you was dealing with wasn't that big deal. In New Orleans, they said try to shoo-shoo. They try to shoo-shoo you away or shoo-shoo your problem like it wasn't nothing yet. No, it's a big deal to me, and I want to deal with it. You see what I'm saying? So let's begin to look at that. Because, see, that is a monster. All those things you remember from childhood, the stuff that wasn't good, that's probably trauma. That's unresolved trauma. And then what? Some of y'all have notions of respect and disrespect which are warped. Because somebody did something to you when you was little and you couldn't defend yourself. And now when somebody do something like that to you now or get anywhere near that, guess what? You going off. You going ballistic. Because you're not going to let them do you like you got done as a child, not as a grown man. That's why you pulling out your pistols and guns and whatnot. You can't look past nothing. You can't let it slide. You ready to slide everybody. You see what I'm saying? So just think about that. Those are monsters, brother. And there's so many monsters that we all have in the Black community. That's why we can't get together. That's why you can't get together with your women, because they got monsters too. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just running it back to you. We can't sit up here and blame these broads if we choosing these broads. And now I done gave you a list of things you can look for in their history and say, nah, I don't care how fine she is. I'm good. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care how fine she is. I'm good. I'm not going to jail or hell for this broad. You understand me? It's just something to think about, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I don't know if they did, baby. They ain't. I hope, it is what it is. I appreciate y'all brothers who paid me for my time. Some of y'all said y'all don't want me to say your names on here. Y'all can't have nobody knowing that y'all up here listening to Uncle D at night. That ain't right. But shout out to my man MC Harris and everybody else who came through. I'm not gonna say everybody's name because I don't know, but man, I appreciate that. We got some cash apps in here. And again, if you want me to give you a shout out, just let me know who you are in the cash app and I'll shout you out. But again, what I'm trying to do is I don't want to split. I don't want to do a 70-30 split with Google. I want to see how this works out. So, but I want to give it a couple of months. You see what I mean? I don't want y'all to, be paying me, thinking y'all paying me, and at the end of the day, Google is running off with 30% of what I earn. Fuck
Right.
that shit. And then I got to pay 30% of taxes. Think
Right,
about that.
31, 30.
I'm only
That's
getting
60%.
they getting 30%, and then I'm paying IRS 30%. Shit, I'm getting less than half of what y'all. I'm not doing that. So we're gonna go with this Cash App thing for a little while. Cause shit, I don't want to be working that hard. If I can save 10 days of broadcast, cool. Because that's basically what's going on. I'm working 9 for every 30 days, 9 days belongs to Google. Ain't that something? That's what
crazy.
a 70-30 split look like. But anyway, man, God bless y'all. I love you guys, man. I do this because I love y'all, man. I don't always follow the algorithm. I don't surf the algorithm like a lot of people. Everybody else talking about that brawl over in Montgomery. And I might hit that tomorrow, but I'm gonna hit it from a different way because I want y'all to actually learn something. But anyway, man, Black Samurai, thank you so much. Cody Marshall, thank you, fellas. Deal with your monsters. Deal with those internal issues. Deal with the unresolved trauma from childhood, because all they're gonna do is keep up. You can't get rid of that. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. If it was there with you when you're 5, it's gonna be there with you when you're 55. Some of y'all are still dealing with this, and you 65, 70 years old, man, because you're afraid to even talk about it because you think, oh, as I grow up, I'm just supposed to get over it. That motherfucking monster is still right there on your shoulder, waiting to get triggered. It's still right there. Your bones might not move like they used to, but a lot of the issues that you're dealing with, some of this stuff you did, if you could just get healed, you could have better relationships with everybody, not just your woman, but your children, your boss, and everybody else. When you got these unresolved issues, when you got these monsters, they destroy everything in your life. That's why you ain't got nobody around you now. You can't keep a job now. You can't keep friends now. You got monsters, man. And the type of friends you do have around, a lot of the motherfuckers just using you. You depressed, you buying alcohol, they right with you. You see what I'm saying? When you try to heal yourself, they run off. You see what I'm saying? Because they monsters say, well, we got to get away from here. They need somebody to help placate their monsters too. I'm just talking to y'all like I love y'all.
Right.
And I'm tired of seeing brothers going out like Tory Lanez and that other boy,
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan, you got issues, and it'll be another one next week, and another one next month, and another one next year.
You know, you see, not a lady.
Yeah, I want to talk about. I want to wrap this up, but my bottom line is, fellas, deal with those issues, and heaven forbid, brothers, and I don't want y'all to get with women who also have monsters. That's not acceptable, because all that does is create a volatile situation. You got to recognize these unhealed people and recognize they lead to dangerous relationships. You got to know it. You got to look at their history. We got a little time for one more person. 18th letter. What would you like to add to this conversation, sir? I can't hear you. You got to unmute.
D, how you doing today?
I'm good, brother. What would you like to add, bro? Come on.
Well, I would like to add, I've been listening a little bit. I'm a big fan of yours. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for what you do for Black men.
You praise to the Most High. Go ahead, brother.
You're a great advocate for us as brothers. And currently, right now, we have too many simps and cowards within our community. So I really, really appreciate everything that you stand for and everything that you represent. So thank you very much on behalf of Black men. As far as the Tory Lanez situation go, it's unfortunate, but to piggyback off of what you were saying, this is what happens when you don't have a strong foundation within your family, when you don't have a strong foundation of, good parenting. And it's the damage that role reversal does when you actually come from situations where it's not a strong patriarchal within your family. This is what can happen. Fortunately for myself, growing up, I grew up in a similar situation that you did, from South Chicago to South Central Los Angeles. It's all the same. But I had, just like yourself as well, most of my people come from the South. So I had my grandfather from Mississippi to look up to. I had, certain people to look up to that, that they was that patriarchal element that I needed and that discipline that I needed growing up. So that's who I identify with the most. And when you just don't have that balance, it does a lot of damage, because if you're dealing with a woman from a matriarchal standpoint that is already damaged herself, it completely throws everything off balance, and it damages both men and women, usually in different ways, but for the most, it damages both.
And see, the thing is, brother, a lot of brothers think they can alpha this broad into being a compliant woman. They think, okay, if I treat her nice and I'm kind to her, shit, you could be nice to a snake and it still bite you. You see what I mean? You can pet a pit bull every motherfucking day and still bite your motherfucking hands off and send you to the hospital, because that's the nature of who they are. You got those monsters in you. Some people, you just got to leave them alone, let them get healed. I don't care how fine she is. But again, what I told you, you heard that Bible verse. That Bible verse said you can bring clothes to your chest and you don't think you're going to get fired. You're going to get that fire on you. You walking across hot coals and you don't think you're going to get burned. You're going to get burned. No matter you take one step on it and you deal with it for a short time or you deal with it for a long time. You're going to get burned dealing with these sort of people who have monsters in them. You understand what I'm saying? And I want y'all to heed that warning, because see, a lot of brothers like to throw their dicks out there like they shooting craps, and whatever happened. You feel like you the lucky one because you got a fine broad, and next thing you walking away with HIV, or you walking away with syphilis, or you walking away with a baby you don't want, or you got a bitch in your life you can't get rid of because you done let this broad move in. You understand? Or she coming up to your job making your life hell. Heaven forbid you marry her. What I'm trying to explain to you, brothers, is we always talk about good discernment as if it's some sort of magical shit. No, look at the factors behind how this woman was raised. Look at the issues she had to deal with. Look at her mother. Look at her father. Look at the trauma that she's had to deal with, and make a wise decision as to whether or not this is a person that you want to deal with. But most importantly, look within yourself. Look at number one and say, damn, I was abused as a child. Damn, I grew up in the ghetto. Damn, I don't know who my real daddy is. Damn, my mama was a crackhead. Damn, my mama was a hoe. Whatever it was, she was. You see what I mean? And recognize that those are issues that you have and you need to resolve that. You don't need to bring your issue having self with somebody who got issues, because otherwise it's going to be a volatile, dangerous situation. And more likely than not, it ain't going to hurt. It's going to end up in jail or hell. It's going to be you in that grave, or you laid up, or you somewhere paralyzed, or you somewhere can't afford to do nothing because you on child support. There's a lot of dudes right now, they see these passport bros popping off. They can't leave the country because they got that back child support. They can't get a passport. Just think about that and how that feels to be trapped. But either way, man, big shout out to 18th Letter, Cody Marshall, Black Samurai. It's great having you brothers in here. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. I think it's important. I think this is probably one of the most important self-help conversations that I've given on this broadcast. And I just thank the Most High for the wisdom that's flowing through me. But nevertheless, thank you, fellas. This is Uncle D. As I always said this time, I'm out.